Okay, it's Namaste Fist Pump, part 2 of this video, just because I don't like making the videos just 20-minute pieces. 10 minutes is long enough for me. Anyway, so check out previous video if you haven't. We're just going to use this one picture that will pop up here, and this is a breakdown of you kind of lumen and what it represents to your physiology, or what should be happening. So in this video, we're going to talk about what happens if it's wrong, and the main thing that is generally goes out of whack is your central nervous system. So you can be you're just having a stroll through the supermarket and you hear a loud bang, and your central nervous system will ramp up into fight or flight. Your body will dump some carbohydrates into your bloodstream, but your energy system at the moment isn't aerobic. Isn't anaerobic. It's still in aerobic. It's just still in a rest, because you haven't moved. You're kind of frozen, and that's what fight, flight, or freeze is. Once you move, you start using the energy system. If not, you're using the wrong energy system for what your physiology. Your physiology is saying move, but your body's frozen still. So that learning to move when you hear a bang. But we live in such a precious, safe society that rarely we have to move, or we don't practice moving. We haven't been doing it since children. We grew up in quite a safe, I'm speaking just generally here, people live in hellish conditions, I'm sure, but in Western world. So that kind of explains what anxiety is. Anxiety is when all your physiology is on one end of the spectrum, but one part of your physiology, your fight or flight, has been triggered, and you're just like freaking out because you're not expelling any watts. Your heart rate's gone up. So some things are triggered this way, but the rest of it hasn't. You should really want to move your physiology all together or none at all. So that kind of explains what anxiety can be like. This is why I'm not anti-high intensity exercise. I think there's a time and a place for it, but people are just banging out high intensity, high intensity, high intensity. So every time they go to the gym, they're practicing getting chased by a lion, and they wonder why they freak out when a car backfires, because the body's so used to slipping into that gear. But when you're not in the gym doing barbell thrusters and sprints, you don't need to be in that gear. So you need to learn to, whoa, I've been triggered, I'm safe, and deep breathe. This is why down regulation is as important as up regulation. So this just sort of explains what's happening in your system. And you can use your Lumen device, if you don't have one, discount code blah 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 in the description box. And this is where you can use your Lumen to kind of figure out what's going. The other thing that I see happening all the time is you're in an aerobic energy system, or you're in that low wattage power output. Your central nervous system is meant to be in rest and digest. Your heart rate is low, but the fuel source is carbohydrates, because you just eat a gazillion million carbohydrates. Not too much of a problem with that. The more simple the carbohydrate, the more quickly it's into your bloodstream, and then your blood sugar is peaking high. So your blood sugar is prepped for action, but you're in a rest and digest state. Your blood sugar is prepped for aerobic work. It's like, got the fuel, let's go. But you're in an aerobic state. Your heart rate's low. You're not producing any watts. So this is another system where you're training your body to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Works on the flip side. You go mental, sort of low carbs are the enemy. Your fuel source is carbs. Your energy system can only ever get to the top end of aerobic, which is great if you're Zach Bitter and you're running at 95% efficiency, 6 minute miles. Awesome. Most of us aren't Zach Bitter and doing amazing stuff like that. And even Zach Bitter on his long runs is taking in carbohydrates to get that edge on his performance and to fuel that small gap that he needs for his carbohydrates. He's super fat adapted, but he's also a long endurance athlete. He is in an aerobic state by definition. If you're a CrossFitter or a power athlete, you need those carbohydrates to give you maximal power. Even if it's only a 3% increase, even if it's 10% increase, it's huge. There's a difference between being a bog standard athlete and coming first place. And then, so again, if you're this fat adapted athlete, your central nervous system, can you ever really fire up your central nervous system? Is your central nervous system not adapted over years for all the responses of your nerves and things to fire with this sort of carbohydrates presence? And now you've got this fat present. Something's not right there. Something's not gelling. One thing we know from studies is when you're in a fat adapted state, you cannot produce as much watts as you can in when you have a little bit of carbs in your system, or you keep your carbs going. And this is kind of the backbone of metabolic flexibility. Rest and digest, use fat. Awesome. Most of your day is rest and digest. If you do an hour's workout a day, you got 23 hours of rest and digest, 8 hours of that sleeping. Most of it's rest and digest. Most of the time you should be using fat. This is the argument for a not a low carbohydrate diet, but a earn your carbs diet, as it were. How much carbs do you need? If you do 4 hour run, you need more carbs than some guy that just works in office and doesn't do anything. So if you're in this fat state, your heart rate, can you ever get it maximally? Is it safe to get it maximally without carbohydrates in the system? I would say no. There's some sort of carb, because it's a faster fuel source. It's protective, as in the mitochondria doesn't need to burn out so much work. So I think if you're really taking your heart rate max, and again, back to Zach Barrett, he's not running at 100% heart rate. He's going to be running at a good 78, maybe 85%. I'm not sure what his heart rate numbers are, but I'm sure he'll be in that range, and he's very well adapted to doing that. But if you're someone that needs to sprint and go hard and take your heart rate to that crazy level, like a strongman athlete, they took the heart rate monitors off strongmen and strongman competition because they saw 220, 230 heart rate. You shouldn't be alive at that heart rate pulling a truck. So they took the heart rate monitors. Those guys need carbohydrates in their body. Being fat adapted is useful for them, but being carbohydrate adapted, it's also useful. And it's not really about fat versus carbs. It's about right fuel for the right state, and lining up your fuel source, your energy source, your CNS, your watts or power output, and your heart rate, lining these up together and knowing where you are, where you're going to be when you are there, it's kind of the backbone of metabolic flexibility. And until Lumen, so we can measure watts on our bike, we can measure heart rate on our heart rate monitor, we can measure our CNA with heart rate variability, we can measure our aerobic and anaerobic by playing about with our heart rate zones. And now we can measure our fuel source. That's why I think people are needing Lumen. I think that's why Lumen is such a beneficial tool, because it's one more tool in your toolbox. Not the be all and the end all, but I love training with heart rate monitor. I love knowing what my watts are. I love knowing what my HRV is. And knowing what my energy source. I know that when I'm going to hit an aerobic workout, I know what zone I need to be in. I know when I'm going to hit high intensity, what zone I need to be in. I know now to fuel up before a weightlifting workout, fuel up with some carbohydrates before a weightlifting workout. I take some popcorn, I take a big bag of popcorn a couple of hours before, munch that in the gym. Then when my session starts at 7, I'm good to go. I'm fueled, ready to go. I've been hitting PBs since doing that. And that's all down to just timing and seeing it. I need to measure it and see it. This is all well established in the literature. It's not anything exciting and amazing that I made up. I'm just putting all the pieces together to optimize your health and your life, so you're in the right state at the right time. Anyway, if you like this video, click like and subscribe, and I will check you on the next one.